Good afternoon. It is Sunday, October 9th, and I'm Deacon Jay. And today's first reading and gospel were both about healings. In the first reading, Naaman, a military leader from the Syrian army who had recently defeated Israel's army, had leprosy. As a leper, he was ostracized from his family and from his community. Naaman, in spite of his influence and power, couldn't cure himself. Instead, he went to the people he conquered, a Jewish prophet, Elisha, to ask for a cure. When Elisha's servant told him to wash in the Jordan, he resisted. He thought that Elisha should come to him directly and not just send a servant. Also, he wondered, why the Jordan River? It was a puny river compared to rivers he had in his homeland. It took humility for Naaman to follow the prophet's directions, but he was desperate and was willing to try anything. Eventually, he plunged himself into the Jordan 7 times for healing, and miraculously God cured Naaman of his leprosy. Naaman, a pagan, then had faith in God. Naaman was very grateful to God and even offered a reward to Elisha's servant. In today's gospel, 10 lepers ask Jesus to heal them. They say, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." These lepers see Jesus and cry out in their need. But the lepers aren't cured right away. Jesus orders them to show themselves to the priests, and the 10 lepers are healed on the way. 10 lepers were made clean, but only one, the Samaritan, returns to Jesus in gratitude. Even today, we sometimes see healings, spiritual or physical, when we turn to Jesus in prayer. Recently, my friend's cousin was diagnosed with cancer. His liver was completely full of tumors, and he was given only 2 months to live if he didn't receive immediate treatment. Then he asked his family and his friends to pray for him. The word spread, and eventually almost 1,000 of us were praying. Then the man had chemotherapy, and another scan of his liver was taken. Miraculously, the largest tumor shrunk by 50%, and most of the smaller tumors went away. His doctor commented that the improvement was remarkable. His wife, his family, and his friends are very grateful for this miracle of faith and science. Like the lepers and the man with cancer, Jesus hears our cry for pity. Jesus remains faithful. He can't deny himself. Jesus can't ignore our cry for help from a suffering person. His response to us is like that given to the lepers and to Naaman. Go forth in faith. And when we do that, we're healed. Like Naaman, the Samaritan leper, and my friend's cousin. We are grateful. Our gratitude, our disposition for saying thank you, tells us about our relationships. Sometimes when someone does something for us or gives us a gift, we don't say thank you. Our ingratitude is a refusal of a relationship. Sometimes we say a quick thanks, but our insincerity shows an unwillingness to be in relationship with that person. The same applies to our relationship with God. When we are truly grateful to God for all that we receive, both good and bad, joy and suffering, we're in right relationship with God. You may say, how can I be grateful when my life is such misery? It's easy for you to talk about gratitude and right relationship when all is going well. But what about me and all the problems of life that I struggle with? That's a serious objection that cannot be ignored. It doesn't work to say, oh, stop feeling sorry for yourself, or just deal with it. The reality of suffering is very much with us. But the message of the gospel seems to be that God permits suffering. Would God have allowed Jesus to suffer if it weren't part of God's will? It's possible through prayer over a long time to come to an attitude of gratefulness for all things, even for suffering. This is a high ideal for us today, but it reminds us of what is possible with God's grace for each one of us. Gratitude is the surest sign that we've entered into right relationship with God. When we are grateful, we're happy. Jesus always answers our prayers. Often, he may not answer them in the way and in the time frame we expect. But he tells us that the Father will give the Holy Spirit to those who ask him. The Holy Spirit then will help us with our spiritual struggles. We would do well then to pause and be grateful. If possible, be grateful even for the burdens that have weighed us down all week. Jesus has heard our cry for pity. Soon we will have an opportunity to give thanks to Jesus. Well, I guess soon, the next time we go to Mass, we'll have an opportunity to give thanks to Jesus for his great love when we receive him, body, blood, soul, and divinity in the Eucharist. God bless, and have a great day.